Some people have the kind of presence that is hard to explain. They walk into a room and the energy just shifts a little. They have the kind of presence where they don't have to be the loudest person in the room and they don't have to try hard either. But people pay attention. That's the kind of presence I like to call magnetism, and it tends to show up in very specific patterns. And once you start noticing it in certain social figures, you start seeing them everywhere. And if you're new here, hey, I'm Jessica. I'm an executive personal assistant, lifestyle lover, and business owner. Here we talk about all things PA life, career glow-ups, hot topics, and actually living a life you enjoy. So if that sounds like your thing, your vibe, stick around. Before we get into examples, we're going to talk about what this video is actually about. And I have my notes, we're going to get right into it. This isn't just about social hacks or trying to get attention. We don't do that over here. It's about understanding the different types of magnetism and the certain subtle ways certain people naturally command the room with their presence, integrity, and influence. We're going to explore the few main types, which are mystery, attention, quiet and emotional presence, confidence and boldness, and authenticity, that word, and unpredictability. Oh, and I have one more, selective presence. Now, here's the thing. Not all of the types of magnetisms fit everyone naturally. So before we jump into the examples, I want to take a moment for you to think about which one feels more natural to you. Do you lean more towards mystery, or are you more drawn to giving attention? Are you naturally confident and bold, or do you connect more through subtle, quiet energy? Once you identify with the style that resonates with you, practice it intentionally before exploring the others, because this isn't just about copying someone else. It's about tailoring the magnetism to you so you master it. Now that we understand the different types, let's dive into some real world examples of people who master these energies and what we can learn from them. Topic 1 will be power of mystery. One of the most interesting examples of social magnetism was Steve Jobs. Part of what made him interesting wasn't just his ideas, it was how selective he was with information. He didn't over-explain things, he didn't constantly reveal what he was thinking, and that created curiosity. People naturally lean toward what they don't fully understand. So it raises an interesting question. Does explaining less sometimes create more influence? But here's another form of magnetism that operates very differently. Instead of mystery creating an intriguing type of effect, attention creates connection. The power of attention. Oprah Winfrey is one of the clearest examples of this. Her presence isn't just built on mystery, it's built on attention. When people talk to her, they feel like they're the only person in the room, and that level of attention is rare. And people are naturally drawn to environments where they feel seen. So maybe magnetism isn't always about being impressive, but maybe it's about making other people feel important. But here's another type of magnetism that's a little more subtle. It's not loud, and it's not overly expressive. In many ways, it's closer to what people today like to call dark feminine energy. The kind of quiet power built on observation and restraint. The power of emotional presence. One person who embodied this kind of quiet magnetism was Princess Diana. She wasn't the loudest person in the room. She didn't dominate conversations, but she had a way of making people feel emotionally understood. Her presence was soft, but incredibly powerful. And sometimes that kind of quiet empathy can be even more magnetic than authority. So maybe magnetism isn't about commanding attention. Maybe it's about making people feel emotionally safe. But magnetism doesn't always come from warmth. Sometimes it comes from unpredictability and bold confidence. The power of unpredictability. Rihanna is often described as someone with extremely strong presence. She moves through spaces as if she belongs there, even if the situation is unconventional. And that kind of certainty creates its own gravitational pull. When someone appears completely comfortable with themselves, people naturally pay attention. So maybe magnetism isn't about fitting in. Maybe it's about completely feeling comfortable standing out. I'm getting a little close here because this one's good. It's the type of energy or the type of magnetism a lot of people don't think about, and it's even quieter than confidence. It's the power of saying very little but making it matter. The power of strategic silence. Michelle Obama often demonstrates a very controlled form of presence. She speaks thoughtfully, but she doesn't rush to fill every moment. And that restraint gives her words more weight. When someone appears completely comfortable with silence, people tend to listen more carefully when they do speak. So maybe influence isn't about saying more. Maybe it's about choosing exactly when to speak. And then there's magnetism built on unapologetic authenticity, one of my personal favorites. The power of authentic expression. Frida Kahlo had a presence that people still describe as magnetic. She was unapologetically expressive about who she was, her style, her art, her identity. Nothing about it was designed to fit expectations. And that authenticity made her unforgettable. So maybe magnetism isn't about perfect presentation. Maybe it's about unapologetic self-expression. And interestingly, some of the most magnetic people combine these traits: mystery, attention, quiet power, bold confidence, authenticity, and being selective. The power of selective presence. Something I've noticed working around successful executives is that many of them share a very subtle habit. They leave situations earlier than anyone else. They protect their time and their energy, and strangely enough, that often makes people even more curious about them. So maybe magnetism isn't about being everywhere. Maybe it's about being selective about where you show up. When you look at all of these examples, you start realizing something. Magnetism isn't one personality trait, it's a collection of small signals. And the most intriguing people seem to understand exactly when to reveal them and when to hold back. So now I'm curious. When you think about the most magnetic people you've encountered, what did they do differently? Was it how they spoke, how they listened, or simply how they carried themselves? Because sometimes the smallest behaviors create the strongest presence. Now, if this video resonated with you, you know what I'm gonna ask. But don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, or share button. Your engagement is greatly appreciated. That way we can continue to grow and learn together. Thanks for hanging out, and until next time.